Hey, what's up, guys? This is Alex, and we are Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chambers. I am one of the shadows. Basically, we are a podcast that watches Kung Fu or any martial arts movies, and we review them. It was basically an idea of my good buddy, Nikansi, one of the other shadows, and he, that's basically what we do. When we hang out, we just watch awesome martial arts movies, and we wanted to review them and give our listeners a good variety of movies to check out. And if you are out there and you're trying to find new movies to watch, this is the podcast to listen to, because we'll give you guys some awesome reviews, some awesome movies that you would have never watched unless it was recommended by a friend. We're your friends. We're going to recommend these things to you. So today we watched Fists of Fury, of course, a classic, Bruce Lee. So the movie was amazing. I hate to call myself a Kung Fu movie fan because I have never actually sat through the whole movie. It was amazing. Loved it. We'll get into that in the movie or over here in the podcast. We have a couple, basically your regular hosts are myself, Alex, Nikansi, and Khan. And we had a couple guest hosts, Jordan and Keenan, drop by and watch the movie with us. So of course we had to get their opinions on them. So enjoy, and welcome to, if this is your first Kung Fu Friday, welcome, and we hope you get some good insight and discover some new movies with us, and you recommend this to a friend, and we can be your source of good movies to watch when it comes to Kung Fu or any type of martial arts. So enjoy the episode.
Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chamber. Today, this year, we actually want to start off with a lot of familiar films, but at the same time unfamiliar, such as Jackie Chan's back catalog, which most people have not seen. One of his first films was the new Fist of Fury. So in order to jumpstart that, we actually watched tonight the original Fist of Fury with Bruce Lee, which was made in 1972.
Can I just take a moment to point out Nikansi's sick voice and how sexy?
Yeah, it's completely stuffy.
It's
I'm breathing out of my mouth.
It's like adding jazz to the show. You know what I mean? It's pretty nice. It's a nice element. You may continue.
Now, the crazy thing about this film is what we watched is a remastered version,
right?
Which was amazing because they took the original print and completely redone it. That is the best I've ever seen that film in the condition. And also, we watched it with the Cantonese soundtrack, which, when it first came out, it was played as the Mandarin soundtrack, but most of the actors spoke Cantonese. But to keep production costs low, what they would do is they would shoot the film without sound. So there would be no sound, and then they would go back and redub it. Mandarin was was spoken more commonly, but they would redub everything like Disney would do an animated film, which is why they have funny sounds for certain things.
What? I did not know that. So Disney went back in and made an animated film of the movie?
No.
Was that three lies and three truths and a lie? You need to announce it.
The way they recorded, the way they dubbed over the actual film, the video, is how Disney would dub an animated film.
Oh, okay. So I see the connection there. I got lost.
Yeah, that's okay.
Any lesson learners get lost with me?
And what threw him off was throughout the whole film, I would tell three truths about the movie, then I would throw a lie.
It's fantastic.
It was horrible. You don't have to coddle him. It was terrible.
You got us believing like every person in martial arts like film industry is related to someone or another, like you need to stop.
But I was telling the truth when I pointed out where Jackie Chan was. He's in this movie.
Okay, so Fists of Fury. Basically, what had happened was this guy came home and found out that his master was killed, and the Japanese came in and disrespected their shit, and then this guy took it upon himself to beat the Japanese people up, and that's all I got.
The
man.
end.
The end.
Yeah, revenge.
That was good. He got his
Yeah.
revenge. Some
No,
people-
no, spoiler alert.
Oh shit! I mean, no, he didn't.
Well, if we're talking to
Saved
anybody
it.
who hasn't seen this movie yet, which is okay because most of the people at this table have not seen this movie until tonight,
I'm one of them.
it's okay.
I've seen bits of the Donnie Yen remake. I didn't even know Jet Li remade this movie.
Yeah, so there's like how many? There's 2 other remakes.
I don't know
3.
exactly how many remakes. The one that Jackie Chan is in, called The New Fist of Fury, is actually a sequel.
Yeah,
Then Jet Li remade it and called it the Fist of the Legend. And then Donnie Yen, he just made basically a superhero movie based off of Bruce Lee's character.
really.
Yeah,
It
so
really
it's
was
not
a
really
superhero
a
movie.
remake. It's a
Okay.
different story. But
Okay.
yeah,
When did this movie come out?
that one came out in 2011.
Oh, okay. I'm actually
Which-
really looking forward to watching all of the Fists of Furies.
It has amazing choreography.
Just one better.
It's
just
funny.
you have to outdo the last
Well,
one for sure.
You can see the difference of how they would have their fight scenes.
Yeah.
Where Bruce Lee's is very realistic.
Okay.
Then you have
So you feel like this one was really realistic?
yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
At least
those-
compared to like what
well,
else was going on
those
in the
fight,
era.
The way he was fighting is
Yeah.
like a street fight. Like it's realistic. You don't want to get hit.
Right.
He
right,
hardly
right.
got hit, and if something happened, he would just keep going.
Got it. You just-
Whereas now, when we watch kung fu films, it's like they're trying to up the choreography. So you're seeing it do everything is a lot faster, but then you're adding all these crazy flips and fancy
Right.
footwork.
and that's when you were talking about the whole wushu thing, right? How they made it into a sport.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why they got a lot of like acrobatics involved.
Right.
So it
right.
wasn't always that way.
What? Not martial arts. Before it was just used as just a fight.
Right.
But then you start getting into the acrobatics. Then you also have the old kung fu films where they added the wire work,
Right.
which we watched a few of those films already.
Yes. Which Jet Li just
But there's more the fantasy type.
Just
like
use the
like
shit
House
out
of
of that.
Flying Daggers and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
like that. But
okay.
we watched the older, even older,
Even older.
like the
Okay.
beginning of the Shaw Brother films. Yeah.
that was really good. That movie with Jet Li. But anyway, let's jump into that's for another day.
yeah.
Let's jump into some of our scores. So we did the plot synopsis.
So plot out of 10.
I mean, it's a classic plot.
It is well,
Well, it wasn't at the time, but it turned
But-
into one.
yes, it
So-
made history.
Yeah. I mean, it started off pretty simple, and then it got pretty complicated where Bruce Lee was kind of going incognito and trying to infiltrate into the Japanese, into their dojo, if you will. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
I gotta give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, we have it set as like the standard now.
I
Where it's
respect
not,
that.
Where it's not like there's not a lot of different angles going on. It's a very straightforward plot, but that's fair and it's done well.
Yeah. You're a brave man. I was too afraid to give it a low rating.
but you know me, nothing gets a 10, so
I love it.
seven's great.
I say 7 as well.
Jordan says 7. Keenan?
I'll give it a 7 because I really do feel like it was a little slow at certain parts, but at the same time it needed to be, because like I saw another film recently with Nakansi where like Hapkido, where it was like a very similar premise where like a Japanese school was going around picking on other schools, but in this one it showed why like that was a problem and why they were really getting away with it, all like the politics behind it. I personally thought like those scenes were important, but at the same time they did kind of make it drag a little bit longer. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll give
That's
it a
fair.
7.
That's a good. What's the next one?
Next one is acting. Now the crazy part about this is the way everything is spoken is solely based on whatever dub you watched.
Right.
So really the acting is really body language and facial expressions.
I think I'll start us off. I'm gonna give it a like a 6 out of 10. You know what I mean? I don't really have many films during that era to compare it to, but I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 just because they did a lot of that dramatic, walk away and turn your back to the camera when you're gonna start your lines, and like literally 2 actors in the same dialogue did it one after the other, so it was kind of like, okay guys, like let's change it up.
Sometimes there was like really long pauses
Uh,
where they didn't finish their sentences.
yeah, I will give it to Bruce that he was amazing with his different characters that he played and his facial expressions and his body language. I really like that.
Yeah, they have some famous scenes in this movie. A part of his fight scenes where he just basically holds a pose for the camera.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it is a 50-year-old movie, so for the time, I will give it, let's do a 7 out of 10.
If I'm basing it based on just Bruce's acting in this movie, it'd be like a 7 out of 10, but overall I guess I'd say 6. A lot of that has to do with direction, though, I think. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad actors or anything, but they were told to do certain things, and they did. They turned
Yeah.
around.
Or there could have been notes that the director could have given them, like in certain scenes, and he didn't. Right?
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. I like that.
It is a
Keenan,
very old movie. though,
Okay, I'm actually gonna give it an 8 because like I actually felt they all acted like in my opinion very like authentic to the situation. Also, just me personally watching Bruce Lee, I've never seen like I haven't watched a whole bunch of Bruce Lee's work, but I never picture him as scary. I think of him as like the hero, the protagonist. This film, his journey through this film, he's legitimately terrifying. There's a part where he's pretending to be a rickshaw runner, and he's like taking like this dude, this like little sniveling like guy who's been giving them trouble throughout the whole movie. He lifts the dude in the rickshaw up in the air. He's holding the rickshaw by the 2 parts and holding him in the air, and it's just like, why?
yeah,
To scare him, like
just to like
that's
emphasize his
ridiculous.
intensity.
Yeah.
Right before he kills
Ruthless. That's a good word.
Also, because I've been watching these movies randomly with Knack here, like I actually just love like a lot of like the stereotypes across the movies, like them
Yes.
speaking Chinese, them waving their hands. Oh, you think you're so tough? I'll fight you right now. Like I like these movies. I think they're really great. I really enjoy watching old movies like this.
There we go.
So I'm gonna give it an 8 because like just Bruce Lee is a master of disguise in this movie. Like that's one disguise.
That was brilliant.
There's like
That-
3 or 4 I think he takes on in this film, and he does a good job with all of them. And yeah, the supporting cast, that's what they are. They're the supporting cast. So I'm not gonna like dock points if like they turn around while they're speaking.
Speaking of WTF moments, like every time I saw a new disguise, I was pretty excited.
Yeah. You're like, all right, what's it gonna be this
Yeah,
time?
that caught me by surprise. I was like, what? I don't remember that.
But also, like like we said, like he carries this movie really well, like with the disguises and the way his like we keep going on about his body language for this whole different character. He doesn't come off as like, I'm literally the murderer right now.
You could easily see why he propelled into being such a famous star.
For sure. Especially
Quickly.
if it was his first one.
That was the second film.
Or his second film.
Yeah,
it's
and he only made 4 films.
pretty epic.
And each budget increased a lot.
Yeah.
What can you say, man? The man vibrates and he moves too fast for old-timey cameras. That's a fact.
Next up is cinematography. This film had so many amazing shots where you could just pause the frame and then just look at it.
Yeah, it's like a legendary picture. You're like,
is.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It is. You can see how kung fu films went from these old films to this is like the beginning of the modern kung fu era with Bruce Lee's films.
Heck yeah. So,
Yeah.
What do you want to give it?
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. It's amazing. It is classic.
Whoa.
It's
Is
a
this-
classic film.
Is this the first 10 out of 10?
I think this is Myron's
For
second
cinematography, I don't remember, but
We'll figure it out.
yeah, they have to amaze me, and this film still amazes me every single time I watch it.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I agree with everything that Nikanti is saying, and I am actually a pretty big fan of just those iconic shots, like the one where like Bruce Lee is sitting in front of his master's shrine, and they get the shot from the angle where the camera's at, looking down at him. So yes, 8 out of 10.
I will give it a 8 out of 10 because I'm either too lenient of a critic or too harsh of a critic. Which, in particular, there were, like everybody's saying, there were lots of great shots. It was shot really, it just like Nikansi said, you could pause a frame and just appreciate the placement, how everybody gets on scene at the same time.
For how legendary the film is, and it's actually a decent plot for the time, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
It's not the best movie, but it's legendary.
Yeah, right?
Cinematography wise, as far as the shots go, like, because it's more than like just the camera angles, it's also like the lighting, and I really feel like that plays a very like important part in this film. You know, it was what, 72? You got to work with what you have. They don't have CGI, they don't have special cameras back then. They just have what they're working with, and it's just like Bruce Lee sitting there in the dark contemplating, my master was in perfect health. Why is he gone? Like, and that scene is just like, it's not just acted really well, it's shot really well. Like, everything like was just on the money. Like, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It added to like the dramatic feel.
There's a scene where like you just see him like in like his master's home, and it's shot like, and you can see the heavy bag swaying, which is really
Oh yeah, I remember that shot.
That scene
That
was
was
really good.
an amazing
That was a good
shot.
one.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
To be fair about my previous docking and criticizing of a point, so we are in 2018 now. Like, this movie is 50 years old. It is just kind of ingrained in like our newer culture, like that those zoom-ins on their eyes and stuff were really cheesy, but like in context, like in the film, understanding some of the the ways things were shot back then and everything, like it actually is really well done, and it's dramatic and it adds a lot of feeling. But we're also, like I said, just 50 years on now, it feels really, really goofy to just like, we're in the middle of a fight scene and I've just killed one man and there's another one coming.
Yeah. It was probably like, for the time, it may have been very cutting edge, like
right,
like cinematography
it should have been
way
different,
of shooting. Yeah,
but also we're so far from
we're
that
kind of
now.
yeah, we're spoiled, we're jaded. Yeah, no, but it was dope. What we're looking at musical score next?
Musical score.
Let me just say.
Let's
let me
get Junior in
let's
first.
Just bring it
Yeah.
in here, and then let Keenan get the runoff after this.
There you
because
go.
This is amazing, and like we keep going on about, I never give 10s, but this is probably a 9 for me.
Whoa.
I had so much fun, and I felt like the way that all of the music was added to it, even the sound effects, because of the way I just appreciate how, you know, sound directing goes and sound dubbing. Like, a lot of it, just, there was a lot of things, especially in the music, that were, you know, they were the, like, operatic of Eastern, you know, movies and stuff. It was very opera-like. But at the same time, they had a lot more, at least compared to some of the other movies we watched, they had much more horns going on in a lot of the pieces, where that adds a whole new depth to how many layers you're getting in like just that song alone. And then for string work, I believe they had a lot of like just regular guitar sounds going on, or like standing bass, like much deeper tones in comparison to like what we're used to, like whatever that 3-string sitar is, or those other really I'm gonna feel bad about saying it, but Oriental,
Yeah,
like,
that classical
you know?
like kung fu movie
Yeah.
soundtrack. Yeah,
like it was different enough to hear the difference, but not different enough to feel like it was out of place, you know.
totally.
So I went with 9 out of 10. I never give them.
The fun part was seeing the jump from like extremely old kung fu films into the 70s.
Yeah,
Like the sound, the soundtrack is completely different.
it's more dynamic. There's more variety to it.
It's more,
and it really kind of sets different moods for whatever the scene may be, or
But
whatever.
not without losing itself, like
Right.
not making it too absurd. It's really
right.
interesting.
Absurdity did come into play like later on, which was great. But no, in this way, or in this particular movie, it was very appropriate and great. Great.
One thing in particular, now that I've been thinking about it, is there were like no wood flutes or pan flutes going on, and that's actually a really big difference. I think it might just be
They use that a lot.
part of it. Might
Yeah.
it might just be part of the setting and the way this was shot in particular. You know what I mean? Because it's not like they get rid of it. I can think of a couple of even newer movies that are like, no. Pan flute is a very specific noise. You'll hear it, and you're just like, yeah.
we need it. Put the pan flute
Yes, we
in.
do.
More pan flute.
Ain't you seen that episode of South Park? The pan flute bands are saving us.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Keenan?
I will also give it a 9, but that is because I actually do like vintage, like Western films, as well as more recent ones. And Western, I actually do mean like Frontier Town, like, you know, outlaw gunslingers, sheriffs, you know, Appaloosa, Tombstone, like movies like that. And, you know, everybody loves. What am I drawing a blank? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Everyone loves that film. Like, and it's just like the music, like coming in where it does. In this film, it sets moods. It sets really good moods. Like, you know, something epic is about to happen. You know, something somber is going on.
Yeah.
They really like did a very good job with the sound effects and the soundtrack here. So,
Whoa.
yeah, I'll give it an honest 9.
Nakanti apparently did a rail. Wow, dude. Wait till he's done, man. Come on. What?
Jordan,
What
you're
about
also-
Jordan?
You're also in band, so you have a different
Well-
sort of appreciation for music. You're also working on some stuff.
No. So, I was actually thinking the same thing. I actually had The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly pulled up on Google so I could see who made the soundtrack, and I was thinking that it added a lot of the intensity that I saw in that movie, and it was really cool. So I guess I'll do like an 8
Cool.
out of 10.
Jordan
Sweet.
gives it an 8. And yeah, this is definitely like the turn of kung fu films, and so it's not like the old music didn't do its job, and it didn't like create those different layers, but there's something about new music.
His next film is called Way of the Dragon, which is actually directed by him. And then he has Enter the Dragon, which he did not direct. But Way of the Dragon, you start to see more of his philosophical influence in his next two films.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. All right. Next one, we're looking at the
Action choreography.
Ooh.
It's always my favorite.
It's always
This is
my
the only
favorite,
reason I
yeah.
watch kung fu films, really.
Complete opposite.
All right.
Yeah.
Content.
Everything else is just extra.
Fellow martial artist, I can agree.
The choreography, well, it's legendary. The way they shot the fight scenes is all legendary. He started to change a lot of things. He took a lot of like past fight scenes where they're fighting a bunch of like a big group of people, and then he started to have more than one attacker start to come at you. It was less dancing in the background. If you remember the old films, they would
where they're just kind of
they just
dancing
kind of
around.
dancing back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember,
Yeah.
I remember from a previous pod, the little you guys doing the bit, watching the clip. It's like, hey man, I'm over here. No, I'm over here. No, don't hit me. I'll
But
keep going.
this movie has it's one of the films that every single film propelled him into stardom even more. But this film, he has a lot of his freeze frame posing for the film that so many people use as posters. A lot of his posters come from this film, and just a lot of different segments. But this is also he really starts to use his nunchucks more often.
Yo, the nunchuck scenes were just insane.
Yeah, and they actually show like how it looks extremely painful getting hit by one. They
Yeah.
actually show that. It's
Yeah,
not,
oh yeah, 'cause
it's
you
not
were-
just flaked off, but it's like people are bleeding and their heads dented.
Fucking veins busted and
Yeah.
just gushing. Dude, that had to have been a hard, like, nunchuck has to be one of the harder weapons to film, for continuation, for flow.
It has
And
to be
it's-
like one shot.
Yeah,
really.
like, and it just goes to show like his level of like expertise with the fucking nunchuck. They really what's the word that I'm looking for? Digging. It's not coming. Showcased it. There we go. Ah, we got there together. It was beautiful. Yeah, man. Oh, did you give it your score?
Before we get
no.
into scores, then
We should
there
just
was-
all talk about it first.
There was one
Okay.
spot that had me in a like. This is both a badass moment and a WTF moment, where he was on the ground. I think it was like one of the first fight scenes. He was on the ground, nunchucks were out, and he's just slamming people in the shins.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just sitting there like, ow.
Dude, like,
he like slams like 10 people in the shins and they keep falling.
Oh yeah, that was painful.
if I'm the director and you're coming to me and letting me know, like, okay, so there's going to be a part where I'm going to be crawling on the ground with nunchucks and hitting people in the fucking shin, and I'll be like, there's no way that's going to look good. Like, there's no way you're going to make that look good. And then he fucking says, fuck you, and does it, and just makes it look epic as shit. And, like, yeah.
Shout outs to all the actors in this film who had to be like inches away as Bruce Lee swung nunchucks around. Like Myron even said during one of these fights, like, no, he's not. They're not actually, because apparently in Bruce Lee films he would actually hit the stuntmen.
In all the kung fu films, you would actually get hit, but they would pull their strikes.
Yeah,
But sometimes you're actually going to get hit pretty hard.
I'm used to the old timey. You can tell he's not hitting him there. You can tell he's not hitting there, but it still looks cool. but then like as soon as the nunchucks started, he's not really hitting them with nunchucks. Well, obviously you go to the hospital, your
Yeah.
bones crack, like
We have some nunchucks here, and I've messed around with them, and I should be in a hospital at some point.
But yeah, the action scenes in this film are just nuts. I love the old timey, like, you know, just Chinese like boxing, like just hand meets hand, move your hand down, hit you in the throat. Like it's all just really well done. I think my personal favorite fight scene is when he fought one of the instructors in the judo school.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
he pulled out his sword, and he essentially just assisted his suicide because he never laid hands
That was
on
amazing.
his sword,
That was hilarious.
but the instructor was killed by his sword. Like I don't want to talk about it because I actually want people to like go watch it and be like, how does that work? Go go figure it out because it is worth it. It was a good scene.
It was
I
like
think
slow mo,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What is gonna happen?" Oh, that's what happened.
I think that's my favorite fight scene of the movie.
We keep talking about nunchuck appreciation. Now that Keenan's brought up the sword scene, the final fight, right? Like these are wooden nunchucks, but they are still capable of easily just deflecting. Like the way he was just smacking the sword away in a couple of those shots, it's like that's exactly what you do. You have this extended reach, like pendulum, just slap the freaking tip of the sword out of harm's way.
That was
Oh,
cool.
dude, you don't know how
Like,
much
right?
I wanted that sword nunchuck showdown. Like,
That
I was like,
You're
please, God,
waiting
let it
for
happen.
it,
Oh, yes,
and then you're like, yes.
he's doing it.
I think my favorite choreography was when it got real personal with the white dude, and he just like punched him right in the nuts.
Ow.
It was over.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
and
pretty
then,
good.
and then he like kicked him right in the head, and it was over.
Yeah,
That was a good
fight
one.
Scene was long, actually.
Yeah.
but I like a lot of the little segments of each fight scene. It was just like more realistic.
Yeah,
Like when he was just non-stop punching until the person just fell over dead. Like,
yeah, those were pretty sick.
and then when he pulled the guy's head back and then chopped him in the throat, that was crazy.
Fuck yeah,
I mean, that's all it takes to stop somebody.
fuck yeah, you're dead after that shit.
Yeah, that's
smash
it.
their Adam's apple into their fucking
Yeah.
windpipes.
Reminds me of Jet Li's Unleashed. They had this big dude standing in front of him. He just walked in, punched him 3 times in the throat, and walked away. It's like it's all it takes. That's
Like,
all
done.
you really got to
Done.
do.
We
Dunzo.
should have kept
20
a kill
critical.
count for this
Oh, we
film.
should have.
That would have been crazy.
We'll need it.
Was
for
there, like,
the,
4?
We'll need it the further we go
1,000.
into.
Fuck.
I'm pretty sure he killed a village. A small village.
no,
It's a small
I mean,
village.
you know, it
Small
takes
village.
a village.
It,
so
it was for sure 3 because like he was hanging them from telephone poles like the damn Predator in this movie. Like
oh, and the Spider-Man bit we did, that was good. That was fun.
This film, iconic. I'm gonna give the action choreography because it's kind of what propelled kung fu into the modern film era. But I'm gonna give it for action choreography a 10 out of 10.
Sweet. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
As much as I agree with you guys. We're going forward. I don't think this is peak, and so that's why it doesn't get a 9. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It is almost like that unforgettable. I'm still gonna go back and like there's plenty of stills, plenty of just the fight scenes that you can pull from this movie, but honestly, I think I like Way of the Dragon. It stays in my mind.
I have yet to finish that movie, and I can't wait till we watch it. What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, I'll do like an 8 out of 10.
Alright.
I've seen better choreography from him, but this is pretty, like the still frames, and I don't know. 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Keenan?
I'm actually gonna give it a 10 like Knack. If it wasn't, I feel like there's a lot of like things in this movie, just choreography wise, I apologize, fight scene wise, that if not for this
How dare
film,
you?
we probably wouldn't get it in several modern films that I enjoy today. Like I noticed like a bunch of just like redone things in modern kung fu movies, martial arts movies in general, but there are aspects that I like, and I feel like it's in those movies because of this movie. Like Myron keeps talking about how this is like his second film. This was the turn of kung fu movies, changing from the old way to the new way. Well, then I think it deserves a 10 as a thank you. It has like our protagonist fighting a bunch of people at once. It has our protagonist having more intimate one-on-ones with another fist fighter. It has our protagonist getting gypped out of a fair fight by his adversary fighting with a weapon. Like, it has our protagonist. He goes up against like some guy like not even from Asia, not even doing the same like style of fighting, and he's just there, and he's much bigger, or like he does something different. Like, all that stuff is still around to this day, and I think that really says something.
I think that's a pretty damn good reason to give a 10.
That was good.
I'm for it. We are on overall.
I love this film. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
I will also give it a 9 out of 10. The fact that it's a Bruce Lee movie is heavily affecting it.
I just
Yes.
love this movie. I love it so much.
Speaking
I mean,
of,
it's not my favorite Bruce Lee film, but it's one of my favorite kung fu films.
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of it getting brownie points for being a Bruce Lee film,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that in particular is why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, right?
Like, it is...
He only has 4 movies.
Yeah, there's only 4 movies, and arguably his first one's his worst, and it's like,
Yeah.
they're all great.
His first one was definitely his worst.
I mean, I'm honestly gonna think like I think I know other movies from the 70s that I like the plot a lot better, and the story. I felt like they had more depth to it. But again, because it's a Bruce Lee movie, I'm gonna give it that 9 out of 10. I think it paved the way for a lot of kung fu films that that we get to watch today. So
Jordan?
JoJo.
Bruce Lee considered 9 out of 10 because I will definitely be watching it again. I didn't give any 9s for any of the category, but I'll be watching it again, and I'll probably give it 2 and 9 on most of those. And
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Keenan.
I will. Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 9. I just, this movie started a lot, and thank you for that. Like, no, it's not perfect, but like I feel like we're at a point where people are reviewing things, and especially in the video game industry, we get mad. They're just throwing out 9s, 8s, 10s. Like, why? It's not revolutionary. It's not. This movie is revolutionary.
Yeah.
It deserves a 9. It was at its heyday, like something we hadn't seen. Like,
yeah, there were no kung fu films in America.
And then on top of it being at its heyday, it's like we're 50 years going back and watching it, and like, no, there's so many things like outside of the vacuum of it 50 years ago that were actually done so well and great.
yeah, it's not perfect, but it's really good.
Hell yeah.
It's really good. Its problems like are minuscule compared to what's great about it.
Everybody
Yeah.
needs to watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
easy recommendation.
Which is
like,
brings us to the that segment. I'm sorry.
Is it
rusty.
bad?
Yeah, there we go.
Is it good? Is it so bad it's good? Or is it badass? I'm going to have to say bad. Ass.
Never gets old. It never gets old, ladies and gentlemen.
They're all looking at me crazy. Like,
straight up,
this guy,
this full goddamn
this
stop
guy
sign
just gave him
test.
all these high scores,
He
and then
just-
he's just going to say it's a bad film. It doesn't even make sense.
He had us on the edge of our seats.
Gotcha.
Nani?
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a badass for sure. Recommend it to anybody who wants to kind of get a good history lesson in kung fu or just enjoy a dope ass movie.
It is a badass film. There is no doubt that if you're going to skip one of Bruce Lee's movies, and again, there's only 4, you better skip the first one, because this is iconic. Way of the Dragon is iconic. Enter the Dragon is iconic.
Big Boss is iconic.
Big Boss is iconic.
Every Bruce
Like,
Lee movie is iconic.
Every Bruce Lee movie is amazing.
You're gonna upset Nikonsi. Don't tell people to skip Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah, nobody should skip a Bruce Lee.
You shouldn't.
That doesn't even make
But
sense.
if you had to,
I'm talking to you, Shay. Just kidding.
like he'll ever.
I'm gonna edit that.
He'll never hear it.
Oh God. Anyway,
Jordan,
It's badass.
bad
Yeah.
ass. Keenan.
K9.
Definite, like badass. Like again, he lifts a whole rickshaw with a dude in it up into the air.
That
He
was
lifts
crazy.
Can't emphasize that enough.
He lifts
Oh, you just need to watch this movie with friends.
air.
That
Like,
was such a good.
oh my
WTF
goodness.
He was swinging people
He
around.
threw the rickshaw. Like he didn't even place it back down. He throws it. Like, badass.
Shoulder power.
And he had,
Yes.
oh, I forgot to say, for cinematography and action choreography, he has so many of his famous flying kicks in this film.
Oh yeah, there was
It
some
even ends it with
fucking
that.
good ones in there. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
The literal
Famous.
last scene is, yes, all of the Japanese
Remember
are
when we
at my
caught that one
doorstep.
dude in front?
That was crazy. That was amazing. Amazing. And I could talk about the action choreography all day. But they actually showed, like, he was using joint locks in this film.
I'm trying to remember that. I probably missed
It was
that.
more subtle.
Oh, okay.
And in more recent kung fu films that we've been watching, it shows it,
yeah.
but it's more subtle.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're just kind of watching it, you don't really know what he's doing.
If you're like kind of trained to look for it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry. Anyway,
Fight scenes, there were 6. Training scenes, there were 2. WTF moments,
There were a lot.
a lot,
honestly.
but it wasn't like, what the fuck, that was weird. It was maybe like 2 of those, but everything else was, what the fuck, that was amazing. The first weird one was the kissing scene. That
Yeah.
was just way too
You
long.
need to bring up.
I would have
the
cut
fact-
that in like half. It felt like it was a 7-minute kissing scene. It was probably 5 minutes, but it should have been like
like 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Because it was definitely
Yeah.
a peck,
It's
just like.
not necessary.
Yeah, let's discuss that WTF moment.
You need to read it, watch it, masturbate to it.
What?
Wait, are we recording?
Because like Venom's
Whoops.
my favorite.
Yeah, we're recording.
Like,
Damn it.
Waited until-
Man,
Why
all
you
these
always-
masturbation jokes.
Why you always gotta do it like right at the worst time? It's like
It's a
man,
gift.
All right, so we were talking about our what the fuck moments.
Oh,
Jordan has
yes.
a great one.
Yes, go for it, Jordan.
That stripper scene though.
There was a fucking stripper scene. How old was this lady, by the way?
She was
In real
probably
life?
in her 40s,
like
yeah,
the late 30s,
she was all
maybe 30s.
el natural.
Keenan appreciates that belly
Dude, it-
dancing.
I was like,
Homegirl had abs, like, and it was nice. She was rolling them, rolling them.
She was like a little Japanese Shakira.
that was like my JAV videos. I mean,
Whoa.
nothing.
What's it called? She was like a burlesque, like straight up, like
She was a stripper.
pasty
She was
status.
a geisha girl.
It was pretty legit.
She's big for a China woman.
They were like real close to showing some bush. I didn't know how far they were gonna
Yeah.
go. I was like, "Whoa, this is too much."
Myron, please.
Children, close your eyes.
Myron, please. It's the 70s. They called it Beaver.
Oh yeah,
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's
God
right.
damn it.
leave it to Beaver.
What's wrong with you?
He's gotta cut so much of this.
Oh, no,
I'm
please
leaving
leave it
it.
in.
I'm leaving it.
Leave it in.
He's
Leave
leaving
it
this
in.
one in.
All right, so that was Jordan's awesome what the fuck moment. Keenan's was
Oh, my
WTF
WTF moments. These are good ones though. Okay, every
I
time,
swear.
every time Bruce Lee wore a disguise, I would verbally say out loud, like, "Wait a minute," or I would be like, "Hey," and Jordan would start laughing. Like those were the best parts for me. Just like he
was like-
"That's not," and then Jordan's like, "Yes, it is."
you were like watching the movie from the antagonist's perspective.
Yeah, like, hey,
Not
wait a
from-
minute.
You weren't the audience. You were the antagonists, the evildoers.
He was part of the NPC
It's
crowd.
just a-
Like, I haven't seen that man before. Oh wait,
Wait a minute.
Why you?
Dun dun dun.
Also, the dude with the gold teeth. I don't know what was going on there.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite too.
I don't know why, but he was my favorite character.
This shit was hilarious. This was fantastic.
Oh,
There's
shit.
some golden moments.
Literally.
I wish we had them a little bit earlier.
Oh, right before the audio cut out, we were discussing the prime WTF moment.
The long
was
kissing scene.
The
Right.
incredibly long kissing scene. I kind of want you to go back and actually figure out how long that scene was.
It was definitely 5 minutes
So,
too long.
Yeah.
It was the length of a fight scene. It was like the Battle of the Tongues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no tongue though.
no
That
tongue,
was
so
why it
just
was
Battle of the
confusing.
Lips.
They just like put their lips together and they just started shaking their heads. Like,
Yeah.
back and
They were
forth.
kind of doing the old timey Hollywood. Our lips are just touching.
They were shaking their head no. I was saying no in my head. I was like, stop it.
And then the director was like, yeah, this is what they want to see.
This is cutting edge.
It's made all the worse when you realize they're doing this in a graveyard.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he has dog breath.
Necrophiliacs.
Oh yeah,
He
ate
has
dogs.
dog meat breath.
He definitely ate
Yeah.
dogs in that
God
scene.
damn it.
Yeah.
No dogs were hurt.
Good
during-
thing I watch kung fu
filming this
films
podcast.
for the kung fu.
For real.
What was I gonna say though?
I watched it for.
I watch it for everything. Just
I watched
kidding.
it for the musical score, but also kung fu.
But they had some. Yeah, they had some funny moments in here.
Fuck, man, I wish I had another what the fuck moment other than the one that I mentioned. But for sure it was the nunchuck versus sword fight for me.
That was crazy.
I was just like, yes!
The first one or the second one?
Was only one.
No. Oh wait, nunchuck. Yeah.
Yeah, nunchuck
Right,
versus
right.
sword.
I was thinking of that was a pretty good WTF moment. Was he got killed by his own sword?
Exactly.
Yeah, what the fuck even?
Bruce Lee never lays his hand on that blade.
It was planned. You guys saw it.
Yep.
After having slaughtered the entire school too.
Calculated.
Did we have any other what the fuck moments?
Those are all mine.
That was mine.
Yeah, I think that was all of them.
What else do we have to?
Last thing. Well, we kind of went backwards for this podcast,
Yeah.
but badass moments. Whole film was pretty badass.
I think
whole
we,
film.
yeah,
whole film.
The whole film was pretty bad.
pretty much in every description we had, we're
I
just
think-
Gotta
in-
say it again. Rickshaw. Like, never gonna look at those things again.
Keenan's like, oh, it's so safe. And
I want-
then it's like, wait, what if that guy lifts us up and throws
we
us
never thought about that as a
against the
possibility.
wall? What if he's that strong?
Yeah, I want to call this episode Rickshaw.
Episode Rickshaw.
All right, guys. Want to wrap it up, Consti?
Yeah, you can find us on our YouTube channel. Just search Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chamber. You can also find us on Hidden Shadows of the Secret Chamber.wordpress.com. And then our Instagram is HSTSC33.
Yeah. Our website isn't quite launched yet, but guys, we're working on that shit. One of our New Year's resis is we're gonna get that shit done.
That
Yes.
Insta is also getting some good content coming in slowly.
Yes.
You know, we working on it. I've got another project laid out. If you enjoy talking about video games and music, you know, listening to me talk about it at least.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Oh. You can follow me at twitch.tv/Cookie Ninja Carve. Carve is Karvae. My buddy Keenan here is also working with me on some video game stuff there. And Jordan, you got anything else you want to plug?
Not really.
We hope you were entertained.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next Kung Fu Friday. Peace.
Peace.
I'm out.